Hi guys, welcome to day 73. I have a slightly different content today. So you might not know this about me, but I wrote a book. Don't be too impressed. It's an unpublished book. I have not found a publisher for it yet. I have tried a little bit, but you don't know how hard it is to find a publisher for something that is a travel book. Okay, so I thought maybe I can use that to tell you guys, you're my captive audience, so I can I can narrate the book to you in small parts, don't worry. And then maybe one day, this is the best case scenario, some publisher might see this episode and say like, oh wow, that's a great book. I want that to be published by my publishing house. So fingers crossed. But I won't bore you too long with it, so I'll just do like a couple of paragraphs from the preface and just the first chapter. They're all small chapters, so you won't have too much of a torture. And if you, at any point, if you start feeling, like you can't take anymore, the safe word is bananas. Just kidding. So preface. Sorry, just to no, it's covered in there. So each chapter starts with a quotation from my favorite quotations, and this one goes, "It takes courage to push yourself to places that you have never been before, to test your limits, to break through barriers. And the day came when the risk it took to remain tight inside the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." Anas Nin, fantastic quote. Love this one. So why did I write this book? Once upon a time, when I was a little younger and a little more foolish, I attempted to ride a motorcycle right up to the top of the world. Well, maybe not literally, but there is a point in the Himalayas that's known as the highest motorable road on earth. Yes, just like that with capitals. It's the title of that mountain pass. I had 3 friends with me in this adventure, and the 4 of us rode on 2 motorbikes. We faced many hardships in this 2 week trip. The journey was fraught with danger at every step, but with each other's support and a truckload of luck, we managed to achieve the target and get back safely. This is a preface. I'm not going to read the rest of it. I will go directly to chapter 1, which is titled Moths to the Flame. Bee to the blossom, moth to the flame, each to his passion, what's in a name? This is a quote by Helen Hunt Jackson. Why? Why did we go on this journey? This question has been asked of me many times by many people, both before and after the journey. Some were really curious about my motivation, while some just used it as a polite way of saying, "You, sir, are out of your mind." In retrospect, there was no one reason to do this. There was a whole sequence of events that led as a natural progression to my making this journey. The seed, I think, was at lunch. I used to work at NextGen Networks in Delhi in the capacity of QA manager. It was the set routine in the office to have lunch together every day, but not that day. By the time I got to my lunch, everybody had either had lunch or they were out of the office. I had to eat alone. To avoid boredom, I picked up a page from the Times of India and got hooked on an article about a man who went to the highest motorable road on earth on a motorbike. This supposedly was the highest pass in the world where a motorcycle could go. On this journey, he had quite a range of experiences, passing through a long stretch of road that had no petrol pumps for 370 kilometers, traveling on a road within range of the Pakistan Army guns, going to places where you needed to get a permit from the military, running out of money, finding nice people who helped him and did not ask for money. It was so different from my mundane life that it absolutely fascinated me. Even so, that was just that. I read it, liked it, commented to my boss about it, and put it out of my mind. However, later, when I had some time on my hands and a computer in front of me, I decided to look that journey up. In doing so, I unwittingly crawled into the rabbit hole. From research, I found that it was quite a fascinating and thrilling journey in itself, and that the article writer was not the only man who responded to the call of adventure. Apparently, quite a few people go there every year from all over the world to make this dangerous journey. Some foreigners actually fly to India, go to Manali, and they hire a motorbike to travel to this pass. The more I read about this route, the more it attracted me. I found that this route from Manali to Khardungla was so rough and had so many natural hazards that it was only open for 4 months in a year. Imagine that. Soon I became obsessed with it, spending hours reading the accounts of other people who had made this trip, looking at photos from their trips, finding about the hazards on this journey, even reading packing lists. People had told some extraordinary tales. A couple of people had given an account of going there to the top, talking to the military personnel, and being treated to tea by them. Some had mentioned a desert mountain, a long, straight, dry road with nothing but sand on either side at 16,000 feet. Somewhere during the research, the thought had taken root in my mind that I was going to do this. It was not a conscious decision, just a realization. I announced my intention to go on this journey on a website called www.worldisround.com. This site had been a big part of my research, so I pasted on the board there that I was going to go to this highest motorable pass, and if anybody had any advice or wanted to join me, they were welcome. I called it Operation Desert Mountain. I posted it and forgot about it. But then one day I received an email from a guy called Vijay Chaube saying that he was interested in making this trip and would I like to join forces with him. Pitting yourself against nature is undoubtedly an exciting adventure, but on a journey like this, having company can be advantageous too. So we exchanged some emails and he sent me his phone number. I called him, we talked, decided to travel together, discussed the plan, but did not set a date for the trip yet. The last date to make this journey was by mid-September. After that, the road would be closed. Meanwhile, I mentioned this trip to Fazil also. Fazil is my best mate, my right hand, my confidant, what you will. He simply said, okay, I'll come with you. And that was that. He knew about this much less than I did. I don't think he really understood how dangerous this journey really was. Of course, he had some idea because highest road, Himalayas, motorcycle, none of those things say picnic in the park. But he said he would come simply because we do things together. Since I was hell-bent on going on this journey, he was coming along as well, and to hell with danger. Thinking of going and actually going are two different things. We needed a million and one things for this trip, starting with a new bike. My trusty old Yamaha YBX 125 was getting a little down in the mouth, and we needed something better to stake our lives on. By this time, I was working in another company where I was sure of not getting paid for the vacation time and absolutely no financial support in any shape or form. The only thing I was good at was computers. So I decided to moonlight in order to make some extra cash. The extra work did get me the cash, but turned my life into a living hell for the last few weeks before the trip. I was working on 3 website projects outside of my normal 9-10 hours working day, plus about 4 hours of commute, plus communication with the 3 clients, plus finding and buying stuff for the trip. I needed more hours in the day. I was getting about 4 hours sleep every night and I was exhausted all the time. It reminded me of the movie Spider-Man 2. In that one, Peter Parker is juggling a million things, his superpowers, a whole city to take care of, his college work, his job, his aunt, his nemesis. It seemed like he was always missing out on something, and everywhere he went, there was somebody angry with him for some reason. I wanted to shake him by the hand and tell him, I know how you feel, dude. I had so many things to arrange for this trip and I simply did not have the resources. There were days when I thought it was not going to be possible. Vijay actually had to delay his trip by a couple of weeks to accommodate me so that we could travel together. We decided to leave about mid-August. In order to maintain my focus on the mission, I printed out an A4 size poster of Kardongla on my computer and superimposed it with a photo of the Kinetic Lasers 170, the bike that I wanted to buy for the trip. I pasted this poster on the door to the balcony from my room so that I would see it all the time while I was working on my desktop. That poster kept me motivated. No matter how tough things got, I did not lose sight of the fact that come what may, I was going to make that trip. Then one day, out of the blue, Vijay called me to cancel. I'll stop here for now. What do you think? Dude! Yeah, very nice. What did you think? Did you hear anything? Very nice. Very relaxing. Relaxing? Oh, come on. Turn off the lights when you're done. Yeah, alright, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys got some of that and I hope it didn't bore you that much. Thank you very much for watching and please subscribe. And if you have any feedback about this, please comment on there. Thank you and see you tomorrow. Bye.